and gentlemen of the Heavy Metal History Podcast. I have two guests from the band Nightrage on this episode. We have Marios and we have Konstantinos. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks
You're
for the
welcome.
invitation. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much for the invitation.
Yeah. So the thing that I like to start off with on the podcast, get the conversation before we talk about all the new stuff that you guys just put out back in May. I like to know your personal heavy. So those bands and records that you remember finding in your early days that like shaped you into, like getting into the genre itself. So Marios, you're first. I'll start with you, and then Konstantinos will go to you next.
Yeah. If you talk about general in metal, when I was growing up, I mean, for me, it was all the 80s metal bands like Old Maiden and Metallica and Testament, Merciful Fate, Ozzy Osbourne, these kind of bands that brought me into metal. And then as I was listening to more stuff, thrash metal and death metal, melodic death metal, Florida death metal, all these different types of genres makes me very interested, and I was getting hooked and more and more. So, this kind of bands for me at least, make me be a metalhead. I'm still today.
Konstantinos, what about you?
I started listening to metal music since I was, I think, 13 years old.
Mhm.
And the first metal stuff that I ever heard was Lamb of God, especially the song Vigil from Sacrament. So I started with Lamb of God, then I continued with At the Gates and In Flames. And then I started going to black metal, like Dimmu Borgir, this kind of stuff. After, I started like a lot Meshuggah, Gojira,
Nice.
these are the bands that they are my favorite bands at the moment, still.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all those bands are still putting out great records. I mean, to this day, and it's nice that you know found and putting out music. Same with you guys. I mean, me and Marios were talking about this before you, like, he's at like a 21 year almost career with like everything in the band, and I mean that's incredible that bands have that longevity, especially in metal.
Yeah. Hey, if you're true since day one, you're true since the last day, I think. In all
Yeah.
these bands that we mentioned, I think the reason why they're so successful is because this is what they are really doing. They love it, and I can understand why they're so successful. And we admire them, of course. All this dedication, talent, and passion is amazing.
Yeah, and I think
You
that
get inspired.
speaks.
You get inspired from this stuff.
Yeah,
Like Constantine, you get really inspired.
say that speaks to the longevity of like your band too, is like having that drive to like going, especially with like all the lineup changes and challenges you've had over the year. You're like the main member throughout the whole history of the band, so it's incredible to keep like having that passion to keep the band going throughout all of that.
Yeah, for me, it's like I told you before. For me, it's all about the music. I really love music, and this is my driving force. All the time. So of course we had our share of lineup changes so far, and that happens for a reason, I guess, because until you found the right guys, like the guys we have now in the band. For me, it took a while, but I'm really actually happy with guys we have now in the band with Konstantinos and uh, Fotis Bernardo. He's back in the band after 20 years as a drummer. He's
Nice.
actually the producer in the album. We have Magnus and Franco. So this is very good guys that they believe and they love the band, and that for me is the ultimate thing. To play music with your friends.
Yeah, that's always the best part, is having the like-minded group of people that are like the same thing that you all are trying to create here. Um, so before we kind of get into the new record, Marios, I want to know about your guitar playing. I'm a guitar player myself, so I always am more gravitated towards like knowing about like when you started playing guitar, What made you want to start playing and everything like that?
I think I was like 13, 14 years old when I saw this live show in old video cassette tape. It's the live in Dortmund with Iron Maiden, a lot of bands playing there, Scorpions, Michael Schenker, Ozzy Osbourne, and I was really hooked, especially with Iron Maiden, the way they're played, the instruments, the songs. I think it was the Peace of Mind tour
Oh,
that
nice.
show. So I got really hooked from that, and there was a lot of people, local also people playing guitar in my town, and I was uh, really interested actually to see how they're playing, why they're playing like that, and that made me also very very interested to start to learn the guitar, and it was a very good, very nice experience so far, because I'm mainly self-taught, but I went also to a guitar teacher, but I'm mainly I was trying actually to figure out parts from listening to albums and figuring out parts and stuff like that. So it was a really nice thing, a really great inspiration for me actually to have all these people around me that they were playing music, and make me also very, very, caring about the music and wanting to learn to play the music.
So what do you do these days to I guess for lack of a better term, like up your game with like playing, like as far as like practicing or trying to learn new stuff? Like how do you keep, evolving that process for you?
Well, I'm not playing so many hours like I used to play before. When I was younger, I remember myself playing for 10 hours per day, and
Wow.
that was a lot actually. I don't do that nowadays. Nowadays I'm playing the songs, and I'm trying to get inspired from different sources, like even not that is a music. It doesn't need to be music. You can get inspired from different things in life that are happening in your life actually. So nowadays the only thing concerns me is to play the song set list very, very well, and
Mm.
also trying to create new things. For me, this is the most important thing, to be able to create new songs and new stuff that excite me. That is the most important thing for me, because of course you can get there's so many million uh, better guitar players than me out there. So I get to Instagram or TikTok, and I'm watching them, and I really like what they do. But for me, the most basic thing, the most needed thing for me is to get inspired and also write my own stuff, our stuff for
Yeah.
Nightrage. So that is the main thing for me.
So are you like a big gearhead guy? Like, do you have like a butters or like a favorite guitar that you like using the most out of all your stuff?
Well, I love guitars, but I'm not a geek if you ask me about that, because I think guitar is a tool.
Hmm.
It's a tool that you need to take it, play it, and express your feelings. That's how I look the instruments. It's not like you have to uh, worry about if they're gonna break or something like that. Because for me, this is a tool that you are actually using to create your own music and stuff like that. But of course, we have many endorsements. Where I'm with ESP Guitars many years, and I'm also endorsed by Seymour Duncan pickups, amazing pickups for metal
Nice.
music, and different different endorsements like Free Zones and Elixir Strings and all that stuff. And it's a very helpful for us as a band to have this kind of aid from these people. So, but for me, like I said, this is all our tools that actually you're using to create your own music. I see it as
Yeah.
tools.
Yeah, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Um, so I'm sure that you guys have about this in other interviews, but I try to just, not pay attention to what other people doing just for my own show here. Konstantinos, can you kind of take me back to when Marios to bring your talents into the band and bring you on as vocalist?
Mm, okay. It wasn't long ago. It was in October, this October that just passed. So I was in Fotis Bernardo's studio, Deva Sounds, who now he joined the band, and I was recording with my other band, my vocals. And after we finished the recording session, I was chilling with Fotis and we were talking. And suddenly Marios called Fotis and he was very, worried and said, "Oh, dude, Fotis, we just announced our new singer because the old singer has left the band and they found another old singer of Nightrage to participate in the German shows, and for personal reasons he couldn't go to the shows.
Yeah.
And Marius was very, very worried. What are we gonna do? Because Nightrage was headlining some shows in Germany. Says, Forrest, I don't know what to do. In 15 days we have to go to Germany. And because Forrest had a speaker on this call, I listened to the conversation. I said, whoa, that's my opportunity now. So I said, Forrest, tell Marios I will join. I said, okay, let's don't rush. He hangs up with Marios and he looked at me in the eye and he says, look, these guys are serious, they're professionals. And also in 15 days, they're playing shows and you have to learn like 13 songs by heart. Can you do it? I said, yeah, totally. That's my ticket, join the metal train. So we call Marius, we say that I will do it. Forrest, of course, told the best words about me, and I thank him so much because Marius and Forrest are friends. He actually convinced Marius to try me. And then, okay, we went to Germany, we had great fun. And after Marius and the rest of the band decided that we can become all together, And after we made this beautiful album, and now we are ready to continue with shows, with new material very soon. We are going to start creating new material as a new band now, the best, after many years, the best formation of Nightrage, I think, everybody's really excited right at the moment.
Yeah, that's so great. It's place, right time for you, man. I can't believe it. That's such a cool story of like, taking that opportunity and seizing it when you could.
I mean, in comparison to what other people have done to get into this level, I think I did nothing. If you hear Mario's stories and Foti's stories and everything, I consider myself very lucky being in this band. And also I will, in the future months and years, I think Nightrage are going to reach very high peak again. And we try very hard for it. We enjoy what we are doing. Marios and Fotis and the rest of the guys, they play music for many years. I learned from them, and we are very excited. That's all. Good musicians with great excitement. Opportunities are coming, so I think very soon people will gonna have fun with us.
Yeah. So what did you do to kind of prepare to get ready before you had to play those shows?
I had exactly 13 days and I
Wow.
had exactly 13 songs. So I was waking up early in the morning and I had a studying schedule that I will learn by heart a song per day. So since the hour that I was waking up until night, I didn't stop until I learned a song per day. And the next day, I was rehearsing the day I learned the previous day, and I was learning a new song. So I lost like 3 kilos, something like this, because I had to sing every day. And because to sing, you mustn't be full on your belly, you mustn't eat, so you can
Yeah.
perform. Now, I was sleeping with papers and my telephone and my headphones, and I really enjoyed every minute because I said that's now your ticket. You have to do it. You
Yeah.
have to stand among these guys who are many years playing music, and you have to stand there like you are like them. Okay, of course, I performed good, but because now we are going to Japan, and to Korea
Damn.
in October. So now we have to learn 24 songs because we're gonna play back to back some shows in the same venue in Japan. So now that I have time, you know, of course I do it easier and the outcome will be much better. But yeah, pretty much this was the schedule. It was amazing, you know. I enjoyed it, and I hard times make you better, I think.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. Like you just hammered it out. You were like, I got this, and like I love that, because you could have fast it, been like, oh yeah, like I'll scream my way through this and figure it out as a come. But no, you did it on a scale, and I love hearing that. You really, really like put everything you had into it. So, Marios, take me back to, I guess, kind of when the beginnings of the new record started to take shape. When did you kind of start writing and forming ideas for it?
I think it's like 1.5 year before. Me and Magnus, we are the main songwriters for at least 4 albums now. We have a really cool chemistry, and I'm flying to Sweden, jamming ideas away with him, and always works, man. We have a very good feedback to each other, so we accept the ideas, and there's no ego. We left the ego in the door. So we are very honest to each other, and that creates that material. And then after that, then comes Konstantinos with his lyrics, and Franco put some more lyrics, and Fotis Bernardo put his own ideas on drums and stuff like that. So it's always a team effort, but everything starts with jamming the ideas away. We don't take things for granted that this is gonna be the greatest album or something like that. We just that I feel we are just creating songs that we love and we think that can be good for the album, because it's always a challenge for us before this thing starts, because we don't know how we're gonna make a better album than the previous one. It's always, for me, it's always kind of tough to think about it. But as long as we start and we are exchanging all the ideas, everything coming into place, I think. So it's a very easy process, if I can describe it like that.
Yeah. So by the time you're like ready to go record, like everything's written and you guys are ready to just like hammer it out and get it all recorded.
Yes, because we always making these professional demos, if you want, with digital drums and bass and guitars and also vocals. So we know, like, in a way, we know how the song is gonna sound. But of course, when you go into the studio, a lot of things change.
Yeah.
And this time, Fotis Bernardo, our drummer now, and also the producer and mix engineer for the album, he made a lot of effort, and he changed a lot of stuff because he's very experienced, and he actually helped us a lot to create the arrangements and the songs, how we're gonna record, how we're gonna play, and all that stuff. He helped a lot, Konstantinos, with his vocals. So I think it was a very, very nice process, and it's always end up make us happy in the end, because that's the dream we have for the songs. And I think in the end we feel that that was something worth doing it, for making this album.
Yeah, if you could maybe take me through a couple changes that maybe from when you originally had the demo or whatever, to where when you got in the studio, he came on and was like, "Hey, yeah, maybe we should change this in the song," and like, some examples
Well,
of that. I would love to hear that.
yeah, a big change was the vocals, I think, for me, because
Okay.
we didn't know when we were creating the new songs before. We didn't know Konstantinos back then, but when
Yeah.
Konstantinos came into the picture, we realized that his ideas are very actually they're uplifting the songs, because he has a different kind of tone in his vocals. He screams with some notes, and he's very detailed about his lines, and also he wrote some lyrics that he make him feel more comfortable in the songs. I think the big change was the vocals, because we always write these riffs and these melodies in the Nightrage albums, but I think this time the big change for us was the actual vocals. I believe that, because for me personally, I really loved his vocals from day on when I heard him when he was trying the setlist songs. So for the album, I think that's the big thing for us, the big change in the band, because you used to have another singer in the past, Ronnie, for 10 years. It was another type of vocals, but right now I think that's why Konstantinos mentioned before that Nightrage is going in a different direction probably from now on, because everybody's fighting for it. Everybody's there for the band, and everybody's giving his 100% so far.
So how long did you guys take in the studio to kind of get everything done?
I think that took us almost 2 months recording.
Oh wow.
Almost 2 months, because
Wow.
Fotis is very kind and very nice to let us give us also some free time in his studio, because he actually loved. That's an interesting info. He really loved the songs and the album, and he wanted to do his best. So he considered actually this one of his best recordings. So it took us like almost 2 months of recordings, and then maybe 15 or 16 days for the mixing, something
wow.
like that. So it took some time. It's always good to put more time in and effort actually when you're recording a new album, I think.
Do you guys track everything separately? So like you do guitars one day and then drums and vocals the next, that kind of process?
Yeah, we always start with the drums, recording the drums first with guide guitars. Then we're going straight to the guitars. And then we go straight to the bass, and then in the end, the vocals are coming as the last process for the album.
So Konstantinos, when you got in the band, how quickly did the idea come up to like for you to have to record, like for you to get in that headspace of like, okay, now we're making an album and putting your info into that?
I had imagine that we returned from Germany beginning of November. We entered the studio beginning of December. When did we enter the studio, Mario?
I think the studio, let me remember.
I think it was beginning of December.
First of November, I think.
November?
November, let me remember. Yeah, I think so.
Ah, okay.
I think 1st of November we entered the studio, if I remember correctly, of course.
Okay. Anyway, when we returned from Germany, I had like 1 month to prepare the songs. So what I did is that I had all the pre-production with some vocals and without vocals, and I had all the lyrics. So in some songs I completely changed the lyrics. In some other songs I messed up a little bit with the existing lyrics, and some other songs I kept them like this. And as far as the texts, so the rhythmic sections, I changed pretty much everything, and I kept some choruses mostly, and I recorded all the songs here in my studio, in my home studio, let's say here.
Oh, nice.
So we made some recordings, and again, it was a team effort because I was creating something. I was sending it to the band, and they said, "Oh, this is very nice. Oh, try this here. Okay, let's do it." So even we had so little time. We had roughly a month to prepare like 10 songs from scratch in the lyrics. I think we did a pretty nice job. And when we went to Fotis, we also changed some more things. So some verses, we added some nice backing vocals, and the team worked very good into very fast, fast
pace.
Fast pace, yeah. So this is what gives me great ambition for the next album. Marios, of course, he's very excited for a new album, but because I'm the newcomer here, I think I am more. I can't wait to be in this process from day one. Because in this album, I just received complete songs and I changed some things. Now that we actually became very good friends with Marios and Fotis because we are in Greece. Of course, we love the guys in Sweden, but here that we are the three of us, Marios, because he lives in the northern part of Greece, we are in the south part. So he visits us every 20 days. And now with Fotis, we'll start rehearsing, jamming ideas. I'm I'm very, I can't wait for the next album, really. I can't
So
wait.
you guys are already got new stuff going?
No, not yet.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
telling you on my side because, as I told you, I'm the newcomer here, and I'm very excited for new stuff, and I'm very excited to play shows. And so far this album receives very good reviews, and but I'm telling you that because we worked so good without knowing each other so well in this album, I think in the next album this is gonna be 10 times better.
Yeah.
This collaboration, yeah.
So just because I'm not super, the European metal scene too much, it's based out of Greece. Like, how do you kind of like get your foothold in that area and like touring Europe and everything like that? Because I'm so unfamiliar, so I'm really curious about how that works over there.
Well, the most of metal is based in middle of Europe, like Germany,
Okay.
Austria, Holland, all France, maybe the Scandinavia as well. Greece is a little bit far away from that cycle, so it's actually more difficult for Greek bands to tour around that area. But we are always trying our best. We have a new booker now in Europe, Metallian Productions. We actually
Nice.
have a new booker in North America as well, Continental Touring, and we're very happy for that. And there might be possibilities for us to come back to the States and Canada as well, and also Latin America as well. We're working on that scenario as well. But answering your question, yeah, it's I guess, more difficult for, let's say, Mediterranean bands like us to tour, but we always doing it anyways because we like to promote and share our music with more people we can.
What are some other bands from the area? Because I'm not super familiar. There are the bands like metal bands from Greece that maybe I don't know about. Because I would love to hear some.
Definitely, there are some good ones. Like I know Rotting Christ.
Oh
They're
yeah.
from Rotting Christ and
What?
Septic Flesh.
I didn't know that.
Nightfall. This is not a great, but Suicidal Angels. There's so many bands, and they're
Huh.
newcomers as well. Konstantinos' new band coming out now, Herta. It's a great band, I think. You should check it out. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of cool bands coming out all the time, and we're creating this scene now, in Greece. Actually, we have a lot of cool black metal bands like Varathron and Necromandia.
Okay.
Another band I want to mention is on Thorsa Lane, the doom metal stuff. It's a lot of bands, a lot of people interested to play the music, and a lot of people actually like to hear the music. So there is a lot of, back and forth,
Yeah,
creating and
that's
giving it and taking it back, and all these energies. It's a really cool time for the Greek scene, and we would like to think that we are also doing something for that scene, even though we're not 100% a Greek band, but the band actually born and started in Greece in 2000.
yes.
So it's a lot of cool stuff coming. Now I remember actually, because you asked me before about when we entered the studio. It's actually 13th of October.
Oh
We
wow.
entered the studio until 13th of December. That's what the album, I actually checked the album credits. So to be exactly correct.
Perfect. Yeah, love that exact information.
Yeah, you need that, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because that I always like to like be familiar with is like, when a band comes from somewhere I'm not familiar with, like, what is everything else that's going on in that scene? And now that you mentioned some of those names, I was like, how the hell did I not know that? Because I listened to
Yes,
Septic Flesh for like ever. I didn't know they were from Greece, so
yes,
I
they're
need to do
great
better
bands.
research apparently.
No problems, man.
But that's cool. It sounds like there's a great in there, and it's being in America sometimes like we miss a lot of the bands from like Europe and everywhere else like that. So it's good trying to like look for those bands over there because like we get flooded with stuff in America all the time, and it's like I know this is coming out, but trying to dig a little deep where it's what I always try to do because not everything comes from America, and I think a lot of metalheads forget that.
Yeah. It's also very nice that you discover bands after listening a lot of music. It's very exciting because sometimes you say, "Oh, how many bands are there? I've heard everything." So
Yeah.
one day you say, "Wow, what is this band?" So it's good that you still have bands to discover in other countries because you know as you already said, there are so many bands, but we listen a lot of music. So and me too. I'm excited to find local bands from other places, which they are so good, so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
So get into Nightrage stuff a little bit. I notice you have like the album artwork in your background there. Can you tell me
Yes.
about like the concept behind that album art and everything? Because it looks fantastic. Like that, that's always my favorite thing is like the album art and how it draws you into everything, the total package of the band.
Thanks for that. Yeah, that's because of John Tusas, the guy that created the artwork. He also
Mhm.
did the last one, the Abyss Rising, and
Yeah.
I think this time he really do something extraordinary, very very good. Actually, he this album concept, the one you see, it's about the title track "Remains of a Dead World," and that's actually a link from the previous trilogy that we had about the ending of the world as we're
Hmm.
going towards the ending of the world, and now we're in the hell that we have created, and now we ended up with the remains of this dead world. So that was kind of the idea. But this is I can tell you one thing: this is not a concept album.
Okay.
There we have different songs, of course, that they're talking also about other stuff, but we always trying to talk about the real stuff that we feel and stuff that we live and stuff that we see in our day lives maybe, and we get we get affected, we get inspired from that, and we want to write about. So, but the main concept, the main theme is coming from the actual trilogy back then on the three latest albums,
Nice. So it's still,
previous albums.
a little connected with everything,
Yeah,
which is really cool.
in a way, yes. Yeah, the album is very dark. I wanted to say the lyrics are very dark. But at the same time, if you read very carefully between the lines, there's a glimpse of hope and then glimpse of us trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel. So you need to, feel the songs, feel the lyrics, and you will find these nice gestures from us, from what we want to say about the songs we write and the lyrics.
Yeah, I think one of the really great things about the music is, even though there's dark lyrics and dark themes, some of the choruses that are kind of like the opposite of that, bright and uh I guess upbeat, more upbeat into them. Kind of like it goes against the way the lyrics are dark and the way the music sounds, which is a nice little juxtaposition.
Yeah, we always have this yin and yang in our music, like brutality coming with ethereal melodies and dark lyrics,
Hmm.
that always have this glimpse of light. So this always yin and yang thing in our music. I think this kind of lyrics, I think for me, they really fit and they're connected with the music we're playing. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's a very cool thing. We always write about these things. I don't know why, because life is tough out there. So we want to say something about it. We're not preachers, of course. We don't want
Right.
to pointing fingers, but we just write about stuff we feel. Everyday stuff.
Which is important because I mean, some bands in the genre fall prey to like just the kind of generic death metal lyrics a lot of times, and I can always appreciate when a band writes something that's a little more deeper than some surface level like zombies and horror lyrics. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but for me personally, it's like I'd rather have some you're saying real stuff to write about and listen to and take that in with the overall like message of the music.
And maybe that makes also more people interested in your stuff, because
Yeah.
people are also, I think there's a lot of people out there caring about the lyrics and the message that you're portraying in your music. They don't want to hear only the music. They just want to connect that with the lyrics. And I think it's a lot of people interested in that. Maybe that kind of writing, I don't know, maybe makes more people interested in our music. So more albums will come for sure. And we're going to write about more stuff in the future for sure.
One last little thing I did want to ask about recording, as far as like when you guys were in the studio, you mentioned like things changing. Do you personally kind of like look for when you're recording and you're kind of like finishing up the process of like, okay, I want to make sure this with the record, and we can use as an example of like something you were like really wanting to accomplish with the new record in the recording process?
Like I said, a lot of things can change in the music, but when you have a certain part or a certain lyric or a certain idea, that always remains the same, and the producer knows it without even asking about it, you know it. So but it's always interesting when you hear something you didn't expect. That for me is the most the most cool thing about the recording, that you know a part and then all of a sudden maybe you don't like it that much, but all of a sudden it becomes your favorite because of a small change that the producer did, or Konstantinos, or whatever, So that's these small surprises for me is always what I'm looking for in a recording, And we always get that small surprises here and there in the album. So
yeah, that's okay. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, because you never know sometimes, like when you're in that process and you're just so focused on one thing that when you're finally like listening back to it, you're like, wait, how did that happen? That's incredible. Like, happy little accident there.
happy accidents, yes.
Yeah. Uh, so, with that and the record's out and everything, what's kind of like the plans for touring and going into the future? I know Konstantinos, you said you're ready to start making new stuff. How's everything shaping into the year and going into 2025?
So far we have booked two great shows in Japan in October, and one in one festival in Korea, which we're gonna be headlining.
Nice.
Now in 2025, we already have around April we have a European tour, and I think from the beginning of 2025 we're going to start, testing some new ideas. I think with Marios, this is the date that we are going to start writing new stuff. Now, what we are doing now is that we are rehearsing, the three of us here in Greece. Actually, Marios is coming again here in 2-3 days. He will be here. So we're going to photo studio and we're gonna start playing. And this is what we are doing now. And we wait for more shows for our bookers. We are waiting for more shows to be announced. So we want to play more. And on December also, we're gonna have a Greek small tour. We're gonna play in Athens, in Thessaloniki, and maybe in more places. And every day more things are popping. We are talking about some Australian stuff. We are a lot of things.
Yeah.
For sure, it's the Japanese and the Korea tour, the Greek shows, and also in April the European tour. These are for sure.
Cool.
Also North America, because I told you before, we have some plans to play North America and Latin America, and we're waiting also for that from our booker. We're actually talking to 2 different Latin American bookers as we speak now, and we're preparing something. So because we never actually had the chance to play before, so it's gonna be a first thing for us to play Latin America. We played before in North America twice, and we can't wait to come back. It's an amazing place, man. America is a huge territory.
Yeah.
You need to play a lot of times there to at least people notice the band a little bit, because it's a huge territory. It's an amazing place. I love the United States, man. It's a cool
Yeah,
place to play.
it's
Definitely.
man, especially if you're playing like some of the big in the country, like there's some really great venues out there that
True.
like depending on what cities you're in.
Yes.
I'm really curious
Great
about
bands
this.
too.
Yeah. So recently I was reading an article about how bands that want to tour from overseas and vice versa, like Americans going to Europe and everything, like they're about to change to be a ridiculous amount of money. Affected you guys yet, or did you get in like where that process is changing? Because it seems like it's going to make it a lot harder financially. Kind of go back and forth. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't be that way.
Heard something about it, but I don't want to believe that this is going to affect smaller bands like us. I mean, maybe they can find a way that us, the smaller bands can go easier in the States and play, because I think people want that.
Yeah.
They want to see bands, different bands, even smaller or bigger or whatever. Why taking this from the people? I mean, it's kind of I don't know, unfair maybe, I don't know, but
Yeah. No, I agree.
hopefully there's gonna be a way. They're gonna find a way that us and other kind of bands in our level, we can go there in a more easier process, because I know still it's expensive to, collecting all this money for the visas, for the flights, for everything in between. But I mean, it sounds like an impossible task if they going to make it more expensive then in that case. So I really hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I
I
hope
want to.
because it's already hard enough for a lot of bands to get over here. I was talking to
Yes.
another band a couple weeks ago, and they kind of mentioned that they were like, yeah, we got in like right before it goes into effect, so they don't have to pay all that extra money, but still a pain in the ass with like all the visas and everything, and trying to get merch and all that. And it's like, man, I seriously am glad bands still take all that time and effort. And a lot of people that just go to shows kind of I get it's not interesting for them, but they need to understand there's more to it than just like, oh yeah, they're flying on a plane and get over here and then they play shows. It's like, no, there's so much more to it.
So let's see what happens with that.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, Remains of a Dead World is out now. It's been out since May. How can people support you as far as like, where you guys kind of get money directly for the band? Because I know it's different for everybody as far as like merch sales and sales and everything like that. But as far as like people
Well,
listening to this and who may want to check you out.
first thing, to listen to the music, of course, to like the music, and then we have a shop in our web store that maybe they can buy some shirt, or they can buy the CD or the new album, even from our label, or direct from us. I think that's the main thing, and also to listen to the music, to support the band in every way, like in the posts we're doing on social media, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we have that anyways. We're not complaining. I mean, uh, we have very dedicated fans so far all these years, and I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. Actually, that they're still listening to the music and they're supporting the band in every possible way. So as long as they're listening to the music, that's the first and foremost thing for me. Everything else follows.
Yeah. Well, guys, I want to thank you time and doing the show. I definitely appreciate you having it on, and I hope that if you do come to America, I will be in a show.
I will. We're gonna meet you, man, for sure.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for
In which
thanks for the
state you are?
support.
Sorry, what was that?
In which state you are?
I'm in Tennessee.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
but
we're
like,
gonna be there.
yeah, we got Atlanta and
Gonna meet.
Nashville that are pretty close, where like all the big tours kind of go through. So it's super close.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Very
Thanks a
good.
lot for this chance to let us talk about our band, our new album, Remains of a Dead World.
of
Want to
course.
send my warm greetings to all our American fans, and hopefully we're gonna meet them all in our next tour, and keep on listening to great music and listen to Remains of a Dead World. Maybe you can find something you like in there. Thank you very, very much. for that.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Yeah, I don't know how soon you need this to go up, but honestly, I could probably edit it and get it up by tomorrow,
No,
if that works.
that's
Especially
no
since the
problems.
record's out, I guess I don't have to wait as far as that goes, so that's good.
Take your time and no problems.
Okay,
As long as you post it, I'm gonna follow with sharing on our socials. So I
cool.
can't wait for that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I usually when I post, so I'll do like an image so people can know that it's up. I don't really care about bands like sharing that, but usually the clips, like I'll take some clips from the episodes and check
That
it out.
sounds
So
good.
that's all I ask.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for
Yeah,
taking
thank
the
you.
time.
Of
Talk to
course.
us.
No,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah,
This
but I
is
mean,
where
you guys have been a band for a long time too, almost over 20 years now. 20 almost
I
25, I
mean,
guess.
let's see, 24 years now since the beginning of the band. But I mean, of course, the first album we recorded in 2003. So
Yeah,
that means 21 years recording experience so far with this band. You know,
man. It's
it's a long
incredible.
time. It's a long
Yeah.
time. I mean, you never know that you will, end up playing so many years because you don't know what is going to happen. You don't know if you're going to have the energy or the will or the inspiration actually to write songs. Because thinking about it now, it's a lot of songs. You need to
Yeah.
write, and yeah, it's a cool journey so far for us. I mean, for Nightrage, and I'm happy we are still here doing music. It's a good thing, definitely.
Yeah, that's always my thing that I find like the most fascinating is with bands like personal history and like, the ones that have stuck around for the long time versus the ones that kind of did like one or two disappeared and what happened with that and seeing how the band's journey evolved over all that time.
Yeah, it's a crazy journey, especially for me. Because I'm
Yeah.
starting from the beginning. This band, so it's a lot of ups and downs so far, but it's a learning experience. I can tell you that for sure. Playing in a band, it's a learning experience. You always learn new things because you don't know everything. Of course, I consider myself an eternal student, so you always learn about things. It's a cool experience, through music and through friendships and sharing your music with fans and people like you. You always learn, and that's a cool thing. For me, it's very, very interesting thing, to be honest.
Yeah, and I can imagine too, just having the band for as long as you have, like seeing all the technology change over time with like recording and instruments and everything. Because now people are using like digital stuff on stage for their instruments and like running everything through computers instead of so wild. Like that's where we're going now with everything.
Yeah, well, you need to adapt to every different situation because technology and all that stuff, they always growing up, and you need to adapt to that. Otherwise, you're gonna end up stuck in the past,
Mhm.
and you don't want that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling you, we as, let's say, old school kind of band, we're still learning. We have a lot of things to learn and you know to evolve to be a better band.